Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. For the last few days, we have been discussing about the message of Bhagavad-Gita for happiness and peace. It's an invaluable treasure full of great mantras on stress management, full of great formulas for getting happiness and peace in everyday life, and also for reaching the Supreme and for getting infinite happiness and infinite peace. But the gems are being scattered all over the great book Bhagavad-Gita. We are taking only a few gems because of the shortage of time. And we have seen how through those selected shlokas that we try to understand how Sri Krishna gives the message of happiness and peace to Arjuna, and through Arjuna to the whole of humanity. And we were discussing about the shloka from the 9th chapter, 30th shloka, where Sri Krishna says, Apichet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasuto hisah. Even if a very wicked person worships me to the exclusion of anybody else, he should be regarded as righteous, for he is rightly resolved. And then he says, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanehi name bhakta pranashyati. He soon becomes righteous-minded and attains eternal peace. O son of Kunti, proclaim to the whole world that my devotee never perishes. What a grand promise given by the Lord Sri Krishna for all the devotees. Name bhakta pranashyati. And he says, at the trumpet of voice, declare to the whole world, Kaunteya pratijanemi. Let everybody know in the whole world, Name bhakta pranashyati. My devotee never comes to destruction. My devotee can never perish. There may be problems coming in his life. Sometime it may appear that he has got little dried up in his devotion. Sometimes it may appear that he has fallen down. Sometimes it may appear that he is not going on the right path. But proclaim to the whole world, one who has become my devotee can never perish. What a grand promise given by Sri Krishna. Kim mami partha vipashitra yepi syu papa yonaya sriyo vaishyas tatha sudra tepi yanti param gatim kim punar brahmana punya bhakta rajashayas tatha anityam asukam lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. Even they who are of sinful birth, women, vaishyas, as also shudras, taking refuge in me, verily attain the highest goal, not to mention virtuous brahmanas and devoted royal sages. Having attained this ephemeral joyless body, worship me. Here is again a great mantra given to us for getting happiness, peace, success in everyday life and also eternal life. What is that? Anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. Worship me always. Why? This loka, this word is anitya and asukham. It is full of unhappiness and it is anitya. It is not eternal. This world is not eternal. This world is temporary, ephemeral world. We try to cling to this world. We try to get attached to this world. Why? Because we think it will remain with us forever. But the world is temporary. This building is temporary. This earth is temporary. It may be millions of years, that's all. Everything is transitory. Our own life is temporary. So, Lord alone is permanent. Lord alone is eternal. If we want eternal happiness, we have to attach ourselves to the eternal. And that's why, if you really want happiness and fulfillment in life, Then what do? Arjuna, anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasva mam. Worship me, giving up this clinging to this ephemeral world which is full of unhappiness. Most of the people now realize that it is a world in which happiness is very little, unhappiness is more. There are some youngsters sitting here, they think, no, it is full of happiness. Only little bit of unhappiness is there. Sometimes when the daddy does not allow us to purchase the latest model car, that's all. Otherwise it's a happy world. But gradually, though the experiences will come, the kicks will come in life. Yes, you get kicks from here and there, from below, and so many problems come. Then gradually one comes to, yes, it is life. As Buddha said, Sarvam kshanikam, kshanikam dukkham. Everything is temporary and everything is full of misery. But Swami Vivekananda says, don't take up the posture of a pessimist. Don't take up the posture of an optimist. Be a realist. Be realistic. Reality is like this. Swami Vivekananda says, happiness and misery are obverse and reverse of the same coin. And beautifully says in the book, Work and Its Secret, happiness comes to a man wearing the crown of misery. If you welcome happiness, you have to welcome misery. It is there. It will come. Every happiness is followed by misery. Every misery is followed by happiness. But all this happiness, all these experiences, are all temporary. If you really want permanent happiness, if you really want permanent fulfillment, if you really want permanent bliss, eternal happiness, eternal bliss, then cling on to the eternal. That is the Lord. That is a beautiful message given here. Anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasva mam. Anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasva mam. Go on. Just yesterday we had a beautiful mantra that was given. That is, go on fighting, go on fighting. But tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha. Go on fighting in this life. Life is full of struggle. Life is full of problems. Don't give up the struggle. Don't be an escapist. Fight. But while fighting, remember the Lord. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha. Fight, fight, fight. While taking the name of the Lord. Here again another mantra has been given. Anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasva mam. All these, so many shlokas, they are like mantras. Even one small half sentence of this shloka is enough to give up the art of living and the science of living, and the art of death and the science of death. Everything. One half shloka is full of each and every shloka. Actually, it takes a lot of time to explain, but we are going. We have to, as I told you, we are short of time. Today is the last day, so we fly straight to now, chapter 13th. Chapter 13th, there is a beautiful shloka, 27th shloka. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatsva vinashyantam ya pashyati sa pashyati. He who sees the Supreme Lord abiding equally in all beings, the imperishable amidst the perishable, he sees indeed. And because he sees, then what does he do? Samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavastitam ishwaram na hinasti atmana atmanam tato yati param gatim. For seeing the Lord abiding equally everywhere, he does not injure the self by the self, therefore he attains the supreme goal. This gives the second great principle of Vedanta. As we told, Bhagavad-Gita is nothing but the essence of the message of the Upanishads. Su Upanishad Su. That is what is told in at the end of every chapter. It is Su Upanishad Su. It is nothing but the bouquet of flowers collected from the Upanishads. This is the essence of the message of Bhagavad-Gita. The message of the Bhagavad-Gita is the essence of the message of Vedanta. And what are the basic fundamental two principles of Vedanta? Two fundamental principles of Vedanta is, number one, the divinity of the soul. That is, each and every human being has within himself or herself a reality called Atman, which is beyond all miseries, which is eternal in nature, which is birthless, deathless, ever pure, ever blissful. Atman is within each and every human being. That is the divinity of the soul. Number two, second principle, solidarity of the whole universe. The whole universe is permeated by this supreme consciousness. Inside each and every human being is the same divine. Inside each and every human being is the same Lord. Once you recognize this, what happens? The whole world becomes one. All fights gone, all quarrels gone. Sarvata pani padantat, sarvata kshishiromukam, sarvata shrutimaloke, sarvam avritta tishtati. Everywhere his feet, everywhere his hands, everywhere his eyes, everywhere is the Lord permeated. So this solidarity of the whole universe principle gives us the foundation on which the whole edifice of universal brotherhood can stand up. We are not talking about globalization. Globalization has come on the economic front, but global culture is yet to emerge. Global civilization is yet to emerge. There are so many fights, quarrels going on among the nations, among the societies. If we want to have peace, world peace, if we want to live in peace, then we must have universal brotherhood. We must have global culture and global civilization. This global civilization can only come by practicing the message of Gita. What is that message? That every human being is a manifestation of the same divine, irrespective of caste, creed, color, religion, nationality. He may be African, he may be Indian, he may be Red Indian, he may be English, he may be British, he may be American. Whosoever he or she is, irrespective of caste, creed, color, religion, inside each and every human being is the same Lord sitting. What happens? Then, if I injure you, I injure the Lord who is seated within me. And that is, injuring others means injuring oneself. And that is why, don't injure others. That is the message derived. And so, love all. Why love all? Because everywhere is the same Lord seated inside each and every human being. This universal love, universal brotherhood can only come with a strong foundation, and that foundation is this principle of Vedanta, of the solidarity of the whole universe. Basically, it is the one universal consciousness permeating the whole universe. And as I told the other day, now the modern quantum mechanics has already proved scientifically that it is the one supreme consciousness permeating the whole universe. That is why Schrödinger, the Nobel Prize physicist, says consciousness is a singular of which the plural is unknown. So this message of Gita will not only give mental peace, will not only give peace in daily life, will not only give us eternal happiness and peace in our individual life, but will also give the world peace, which is a great necessity today, will also give the foundation for building up the universal brotherhood, will also give the foundation for global culture and global civilization, which is the need of the hour today. That is the great message of Bhagavad-Gita. That only can unite the whole of mankind. That only can stop all wars. No other thing can do that. This understanding derived from the great message of Vedanta, the great message of the Bhagavad-Gita. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatsa vinashyantam ya pashyati sapashyati. He alone sees who sees all. And along with the solidarity of the whole universe is derived that principle of the great message of Swami Vivekananda of worshipping God in man. If each and every human being is the manifestation of the same divine, then Swami Vivekananda says, we don't do social service. Cut out this word health from your mind. No. When you give a loaf of bread to a poor person, you are not obliging him. It is he who is obliging you. Let the giver kneel down and let the receiver stand up and receive. He says in Karma Yoga. Beautiful. Let the giver kneel down and let the receiver stand up and receive. Why? It is you who are getting obliged by serving the poor person, by serving the God in poor person. It is you who realize God, who get the blessings of God. Blessed you are that you have been allowed to give this, allowed this privilege of serving others. We do not serve human beings. We are not serving poor people. We are not serving the sick people in the hospital. We are not serving the patients. No. We are serving the Lord coming in the form of the diseased. We are serving the Lord coming in the form of poor people. And so Swami Vivekananda said, he wrote a letter, beautiful, inspiring letter to his brother disciples. So far you had heard these great mantras, Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atithi Devo Bhava. Now I give you some additional mantras. What is that? Daridra Devo Bhava, Rogi Devo Bhava, Chandal Devo Bhava, Murkha Devo Bhava. Worship the Lord who is coming in the form of the poor. Worship the Lord who is coming in the form of the patients. Worship the Lord who is coming in the form of the illiterate. Worship that. Get blessed yourself. The great message of service of humanity, worshipping God in human beings, that also is derived from this sloka, which is nothing but the representation of the principle of Vedanta, of solidarity of the whole universe. And another principle, we are all equal. And once this comes, and if we start seeing God in others, what happens? Conflict gone. It is the clash of egos gone. No more quarrel. If the mother-in-law tries to see the divine in the daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law tries to see the divine in mother-in-law, no more quarrel. If the teacher tries to see the divine in the students, and the students try to see the divine in teachers, no more conflict. If the industrialist tries to see the divine in workers, and the workers tries to see the divine in the management, no more strike, no more lockout, no more conflict. Everywhere, if the same principle is applied to, that is why Swami Vivekananda said, we don't want Vedanta. We want practical Vedanta. Vedanta which is not applied in everyday life is of no use. We don't want theoretical Vedanta. So Swami Vivekananda gave a new name. The same message of Bhagavad-Gita and Vedanta, he gave a new name, practical Vedanta. This Vedanta has to be made practical in our everyday life. Then our life becomes poetical. Then our life becomes fruitful. Then our life becomes bereft of all sorts of struggles. And the great message that comes, that each and every human being is a manifestation of God. In that case, how can I exploit others and can be happy myself? If a businessman, if an industrialist, he exploits his labor force and mints money, from the exploitation of the labor force, from the exploitation of the employees, if he has minted money and he has constructed a beautiful building on the seashore here in Durban. New buildings are coming up. I saw today. Beautiful buildings. They told it is very high rate. Yes, you purchase 7-story, multi-storied building, beautiful building, posh building with all furniture and nice Dunlop pillow. Get best furniture, best building, but you will not be able to sleep on that Dunlop pillow on the 7th floor near the seashore with all number of tranquilizers if the persons you exploited are sleeping there without food. You can't get. That is the law of karma. Simple law of karma. Because the same Lord is seated within the heart of that person who is exploited. The same Lord is seated within the person who has been exploited. As long as one God is suffering, the other God cannot get peace of mind. Simple law of karma. The simple law of Vedanta. So Vedanta says you cannot get peace of mind by exploiting others. No, you can't get. You may do. You may have any number of tranquilizers. You can't get sleep if the person down below is not getting sleep because of lack of food, which has been caused by you. This law of karma again emanates from this great principle of solidarity of the whole universe. The Lord is present in all beings. And therefore, if you really want peace of mind, don't exploit others. Isha vasmidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha ma gradakasya siddhanam. Don't covet anybody's health, anybody's wealth. Enjoy. Enjoy through renunciation. How can I enjoy through renunciation? Renunciation means giving up. If I give up, how do I enjoy? You don't have to give up wealth. What you have to give up is, you have to give up the attachment to wealth. What you have to do, give up, is the ownership, the idea of ownership of the wealth. You are not the owner of the wealth. Enjoy. Enjoy wealth. Enjoy all the great things, all the pleasant things of the world. Doesn't matter. Enjoy. But enjoy through renunciation. Renunciation of selfishness, renunciation of selfish greed, renunciation of the basic instinct of exploiting others, and renunciation of the attachment. If you renounce all, enjoy, yes, that will be great pleasure. That pleasure will not lead you to hell. It will not lead you to suffering, but rather it will add up to your happiness and will lead you to the ultimate goal of supreme happiness and supreme peace. That great principle of trusteeship management is also embedded in this great sloka of the Bhagavad-Gita. Everywhere is the same Lord. Why exploit others? Serve others and get peace of mind. And that is the only way of getting peace of mind. As long as you go on exploiting others, you can't get peace of mind. Serve others. Distribute your wealth that you have got for the sake of others. This is the message given by Vedanta, the message given of Bhagavad-Gita. That is the message was given by Swami Vivekananda to John D. Rockefeller. Mahatma Gandhi, he popularized this idea of trusteeship management, which has now been taken away by many CEOs of many multinational companies with success in their business. Their business is thriving. Infosys chairman Narayan Murthy, or Wipro chairman Azim Premji, you ask them, they have adopted this principle of trusteeship management, they are thriving. But this was popularized by Gandhiji. But before Gandhiji popularized, it is Swami Vivekananda who for the first time gave the message of this trusteeship management to John D. Rockefeller. Swami Vivekananda was in Chicago in 1893. He delivered that famous lecture in the Chicago Parliament of Religions, and he continued to stay in America for the propagation of Vedanta. At that time he was staying in Chicago. That time the richest person of the world was John D. Rockefeller, the emperor of petroleum industry. He had minted money. He had exploited many people. He had cut off many competitors from his line, amassed lot of wealth, but the sins of the lot of wealth, where he will go, he was full of misery, so much so that he was contemplating suicide. His friend came to know, he said, if you want peace of mind, please come. In my friend's house, an Indian yogi has come, Swami Vivekananda. You talk to him, you will get peace of mind. But as it happens with many rich persons, most of the rich persons, they are very egoistic. What? I to go to a beggar to get advice? No, I will not go. He didn't go. He didn't go. Many days he didn't go. One fine morning, suddenly he came to the place where Swami Vivekananda was residing. And he called the bell. The butler opened the door. He simply entered without being announced. Swamiji was not there in the drawing room, so he went inside. Swamiji was there in his study room, fully engrossed in study. Then when Rockefeller entered, he was so engrossed in study, he didn't see. So Rockefeller went and knocked at the table. Then Swamiji looked up. Then Rockefeller said, I am Rockefeller. You know, that time Rockefeller means the President of America had to get up. That was the name, Rockefeller. So he said, I am Rockefeller. So Swamiji said, what do you want? Rockefeller was not prepared for this type of treatment for a beggar. I don't want anything. He became annoyed. Then Swamiji said, then why have you come? Now Rockefeller was very much in trouble. He himself had come without invitation. He kept silent. Then Swamiji said, Rockefeller, I know why you have come. You come here because you don't have peace of mind. And then Swamiji started telling many incidents of the life of Rockefeller which no one knew excepting Rockefeller. Then he became excited. He said, who has told all these things to you? Then Swamiji smiled and said, do you think it is necessary that somebody should tell me? I can see through your mind as I can see through a glass almirah. Then Rockefeller became afraid. He knows everything, all the black things that he has done. So he became nervous. Then Swamiji said, my dear friend Rockefeller, I'll give you a piece of advice. If you want peace of mind, remember, you are not the owner of your wealth. You are only a custodian of your wealth. Utilize this money for helping the millions of people who are suffering. Serve them. Utilize this money for removing the suffering of these poor people, and immediately you will get peace of mind. There is no other way by which you can get peace of mind. Rockefeller was not in a habit of listening to anybody's advice, least of all from a beggar. And so he left abruptly the place. As abruptly he had come, he left in annoyance. But after a few days, again he came. Similar fashion, again abruptly he came. Called the bell. The butler opened the door. Again he went inside without being announced. Simply rushed inside. Swamiji again was not there in the drawing room. He was engrossed in study room. Again he went and then knocked at the table. Then Swamiji looked up. Then Rockefeller put a piece of paper in which it was announced he had made a declaration of a great amount of donation for a public cause. Swamiji looked at the paper. Then Rockefeller said, now you must thank me. I followed your advice. Swamiji read and said, well, it is for you to thank me. Because by following my advice, you will get peace of mind which cannot be purchased by millions of dollars. That peace of mind you will get. That is the trusteeship management principle. Afterwards, from this Rockefeller Foundation, he wrote down in his autobiography later on, he has not written the name of Vivekananda, but he wrote down that the purpose of life is to serve others. I have at last understood that the purpose of life is to serve others. In that is the fulfillment, serving others, serving poor people. And he made a big foundation, Rockefeller Foundation. From that Rockefeller Foundation, now a lot of research work is being done. But he did that work. But that message of trusteeship management was given by Swami Vivekananda to Rockefeller in 1893. Later on, Gandhiji popularized it, and today many are following this principle, including Bill Gates. When I read in the newspaper in Calcutta a few years back that one journalist asked Bill Gates, the richest person of the world, why have you come to India? Well, I admire the great cultural heritage of India. How did you come to admire? By reading the books of Swami Vivekananda. Have you read the books of Swami Vivekananda? The journalist asked him. Well, I don't go to sleep without reading a page from the book of Swami Vivekananda. Bill Gates replied. When I read in the newspaper, I couldn't believe, because my idea of Bill Gates was he believes in cutthroat competition. That was my idea of Bill Gates. I said, how come he cutting the throat of others and reading the pages of Vivekananda? But after 1 year, when I read in the newspaper that Bill Gates has announced that only apart from that time he had $35 billion. I don't know, now it has come down to $27 billion or something, I don't know, latest position. But even now, he is the second richest person in the world. But about whatever, all that money that he has got, minus $10 million that he is reserved for his children, all the money he said he will give to charity. And he started giving for charity, and last year he was the person who did the maximum charity in the whole world. Millions of dollars he has spent for particularly for removal of AIDS in India and other undeveloped countries, particularly for medical care of the AIDS patients, and so many other purposes. Then I thought, okay, now I feel that he must have read the books of Swami Vivekananda, because he has got the message of trusteeship management. He must, and his favorite book was Karma Yoga, in which Swami Vivekananda says, Karma Yoga, yes, try to serve others. So he must have read the book, now I understand. But this message of trusteeship management is also embedded in this great message, Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyata vinashyantam yah pashyati sapashyati sarvata pani padam tat sarvata shishro mukham. These shlokas of Bhagavad-Gita gives the solidity of the whole universe, and that gives, once we start practicing Lord in all, we'll get peace of mind. Holy Mother Shri Sharda Devi passed away on 21st July 1920. Just 2 days before she passed away, Annapurna's mother was standing at the door and she was weeping, Mother, you will go away and nobody will now look after us. Mother said, don't worry, Lord is there to look after. And then the Holy Mother gave her last message. Afterwards, Holy Mother didn't speak anything. The last message of the Bhagavad-Gita, of the Holy Mother Sharda Devi. If you want peace of mind, don't look at the faults of others. Rather, try to see your own faults. No one is a stranger, my child. Everyone is your own. If the Lord is present in every human being, then no one is a stranger. And Holy Mother Sharda Devi practiced this in her own life. For her, no one was a stranger. Amjad, the dacoit, is equally lovable for her. She herself said, Amjad is as much my child as Sharat is my child. Sharat means Swami Shardananji, who used to love her so much, and she used to love him so much, and who did so much for her, Swami Shardananji, the first General Secretary of Ramakrishna Mission. But in the eyes of Holy Mother, Samam Pashyani Sarvatra, everywhere she is seeing the same Lord. She says, Amjad is as much my child as Sharat is. Anybody. Even a fallen girl came to her, Swami Sharda Devi. Sharda Devi accepted her. Don't worry. Start a new life. Whatever has happened, forget. Forget. She couldn't see any defect in anyone. Don't look at the faults of others. No one is a stranger, my child. Everyone is your own. This, again, is a message coming from the message of Bhagavad-Gita. Everywhere is the same Lord. Why do you hate? Why do you try to? Every human being has got some faults, but within every human being is the Lord seated. Try to see that Lord. Try to see the positive things. Try to see the positive aspects. Then this conflict will go away. In our daily life, we will have best of interpersonal relationships if we try to practice this particular shloka, that God is present in every being. Of course, we forget. When somebody criticizes us, somebody tells something, immediately we become angry and we forget that He is God and we are God, and we start like this. But again and again we have to practice. No, the person who is criticizing me, within him or her is also the same Lord. At present he or she has forgotten his or her true nature. Let me not forget my true nature. Let me not give up my knowledge of the self and of the self in others. Gradually, when we start practicing this, our interpersonal relationship will also be better. That is the best way of improving interpersonal relationship, that is practicing this practical Vedanta. Once we start practicing this practical Vedanta, the message given in the Bhagavad-Gita, our daily life will be very sweet. No conflict, no quarrels. At home, there will be peace. In the family, there will be peace. In our heart, there will be peace. In our office, when we go, there will be peace. In the streets, when we go, somebody does like this. Okay, there is God within you. Thank you. Thank you for giving me a kick. Thank you. Then that person gets transformed. When he or she says, oh, I am trying to see the devil in others and he is trying to see God. Let me also try to see God. Pauhari Baba. The thief came to Pauhari Baba. I recently went to Pauhari Baba's. He's from Ghazipur in Bihar. So I went to see just 3 months back. Pawari Baba, Swami Vivekananda regarded him great saint. Pawari Baba was a great saint. His name was Pawari Baba because he would not take anything excepting pavan, that means air, is the only food. For months together, no food, only air. And he is Pawari Baba. He used to say he was a great yogi. He used to stay in a cave. Only once in a while he'll come out and give darshan. That also later on he gave up. So once he was a great yogi. For him everybody is the Lord. So one day one thief came at night. Now he had no possessions excepting but for some utensils which were meant for worshipping the Lord. So there were some utensils meant for worship of the Lord. Those utensils were there. The thief came. Now he didn't get anything. So he took all those utensils and made a bundle of them and started going. By that time, Pawari Baba woke up. So he saw the thief is going along with this one. But one vessel has been kept there. So he said, "Oh Narayana, oh Narayana, you came to my house, you blessed me by taking away all. Why are you leaving this?" But the thief was running away. When he saw that he is woken up, so he thought he will be beaten. So he started running with that bundle of these utensils. And Pawari Baba ran after him with this vessel. After some time, the Pawari Baba was a yogi, how far that thief can go. So after some time, Pawari Baba got hold of him. And he told like this, thief thought, now he has caught hold of me, now he will beat me. Instead of beating him, Pawari Baba did like this, "Oh Lord, oh Narayana, you came to my house, you blessed me by your presence, you took away these things, why did you leave this thing? Oh Lord, please take this one, this is for good, better use of you, please Lord, take." Thief was thinking, what is this? Is he a madman or what? Instead of beating me, he is giving me this utensil also. And then his whole heart got transformed. What type of a saint he is? That he is giving like this, not instead of beating me, he is doing pranam to me. He is prostrating towards me, taking me to be Narayana. He is everywhere saying Narayana. Chor Narayana, thief Narayana, everywhere Narayana. Yes, for him everything is Narayana. One day what happened? In his cave, all types of animals were there, but they all had become friends. The serpent was also the friend, and there was another animal that was also friend, mongoose. Now what happened? One day the serpent got angry on him because he was showing affection to others. So the serpent stung him. Otherwise he was very friendly, but stung him. So the people asked, "What has happened? So much of bleeding is going on." Then he said, "You see, the messenger came from my beloved and kissed me." He didn't say the serpent came and bite him. No. He says, a messenger came from my beloved Lord and kissed me. That is why bleeding is going on. For everywhere is the God. So a person of realization sees God everywhere. Swami Vivekananda was wandering in the Himalayas, and somewhere he was lost, and then he talked with one saint, one monk, and he became greatly impressed by his talks. Then he asked about his past life. He said, "Have you heard about the story of Pawari Baba?" Yes, I was at his door for many months. Did you hear about that story of a thief? That one thief had come and he was stealing and going away, and yes, I know the story. I am the same thief. He was converted, he became a great saint. After coming in contact with Pawari Baba and knowing this one, oh my God, such a great lofty mind, he became a great saint. Swami Vivekananda was very happy to meet that monk. So, this is all there. This is the great Samam Sarveshu Bhuteshu Tishtantam Parameshwaram Vinashyatam Yah Pashyati Pashyati. And now we come to, the time is very less, so we come directly to the 18th chapter, the last very, very important shloka. These 4 yogas have been taught in the Bhagavad-Gita, And the whole gist of the whole message of Upanishads is in the Gita, and the whole message of Gita has been given by Swami Vivekananda in one simple sentence. Each soul is potentially divine. The goal of human life is to manifest this divinity within by controlling nature, external and internal. Do this either by work, worship, psychic control or philosophy, by one or more or all of these, and be free. This is the whole of religion. Dogmas, rituals, worships, temples, churches, mosques are but secondary details. This is the message. All the 4 yogas have been told. Bhakti Yoga, Raj Yoga, Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga in various chapters. And Arjuna has been told by Sri Krishna. Sometimes it happens we are not able to practice all the 4 yogas. Sometimes it happens the mind is too much under stress. Sometimes it happens the problem is so very much that we are not able to practice anything, and we are at our wits' end. When there is too much of tension in the mind, when we are too much bewildered, when we find ourselves incapable of doing anything, and when the crisis has come to its acme, its climax, what to do? This sloka is very important for such persons who have come to the climax of their tension, who have come to the climax of their disappointment, of their depression. Here is the sloka. Ishvara sarvabhutanam riddeshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantra rudhani mayaya tameva sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim sthanam praptasi shashvatam. In the heart of all beings, O Arjuna, resides the Lord, whirling all of them by his maya as if they were mounted on a machine. Take refuge in him alone with all your heart, O descendant of Bharata. Arjuna, by his grace you shall attain supreme peace and the eternal abode. For getting supreme peace and supreme abode, a beautiful shloka has been given, a beautiful way has been given, a beautiful mantra has been given. What is that? Surrender. Surrender to the Lord. Where is the Lord? Seated in each and every human being. And what does he do? He is as if where he is operating the machine. Like a machine operator, he goes on operating the machine. He is seated there, as it were, mounted on a machine, and he is doing everything. We feel I am doing like this, I am doing like this. Ultimately we will realize it is he who is doing everything. Everything is done by his own will. Shakali tomar ichha, tomar karma tumi karo, loke bole kariyami. Shakali tomar ichha, ichha mai tara tumi. There is a Bengali song. Shakali tomar ichha, ichha mai tara tumi. Oh Mother, Divine Mother, it is you who are actually doing everything. And people out of ignorance, they say, I have done like this and I have done like this. And then say, Ami jantra, tumi jantri. I am only an instrument. It is you who are doing the whole thing. Similarly, here Gita says, it is the Lord who is seated inside everybody's heart and makes everybody do whatever action he or she is doing. How? As if mounted on a machine operator does, like that he is operating the whole thing from within. Ultimately it is his wish. So the best shloka, the best mantra that I give them whenever they are under stress, for stress management, whether for students, whether for executives, write down a small formula. Do your best and leave the rest. L-E-A-V-E. Do your best. Yes. Do your sadharma. Under the circumstances, whatever is your capacity, try to do your best. But after doing your best, leave the rest. He knows the best. Lord knows the best what is good for us. So when somebody is under too much stress, I want to come and say, okay, can you wait for 2 days? At least 2 days. Already you have waited for such a long, wait for 2 days. Give me 2 days. And within 2 days, everything is over. Then, no, I don't want to come in. Because they have got the power. So I tell them, do you believe in God? Yes, I believe in God. Do you think God has little more intelligence than you? Little more intelligence? No, he has got much more intelligence than me. At least little more intelligence? Yes. And he has got little more power than you? No, he is all powerful. Then where is the question of any tension? For any of your problem, Lord knows best when he will solve it and how he will solve it. Depend on him. Give it to him. Surrender yourself to him. Let him decide when this problem will be solved and how it will be solved. If you really have faith in God, he knows best how to solve it and when to solve it. And if he doesn't solve it, he knows that it will be good for you. For the time being, we may feel, oh, I prayed to God, he didn't listen to you. Later on, you will realize it was for our good. A person prayed, oh Lord, give me an air ticket from Bombay to Bangalore, otherwise I will lose 1 million rupees loss to my business. Lord did not give me a ticket. So he told his friend, I don't believe in your God. You see, I prayed for him only one air ticket, that also he is not giving me, and you are telling that God is kind and merciful and all that. After half an hour the news came that the plane crashed, all died. Oh Lord, you are all merciful, very good. Very good that you did not give me the ticket. When we don't get the air ticket, let us know something good is meant by God. Lord does not want our destruction. Lord wants our spiritual benefit. For giving spiritual benefit, sometimes we may do some worldly harm for the time being. Some unpleasantness, some unhappiness may come to us, but in return, we may be getting from him eternal happiness, eternal life. Sometimes operation has to be done. Doctors are here, they do operation. But when they do the operation, they do in the operation theater, air-conditioned operation theater, and they do anesthesia so that you get minimum pain. Similarly, sometimes Lord has to do spiritual operation on us. At that time we feel, oh, Lord is not at all kind, why he has given this trouble. But Lord knows best that this operation was needed. Then all types of problems will be over. But every day you are suffering, Lord doesn't want you every day to suffer. He wants to carry out operation so that you are free from all ailments. For getting rid of all spiritual ailments, sometimes he gives little pain. But that operation he carries out under air-conditioned theater, in the air-conditioned theater, and anesthesia also he gives. And he sees to it that we have minimum of suffering. But he is kind. He carries out the operation so that all the diseases gone, all spiritual diseases gone. So we must know when something happens in our life, it is for our good. We are not able to know at present. There is some good which we are not able to see at present, because Lord has got a supercomputer, we have got an ordinary computer. He knows what is good for us on the long run. Let him decide. So do your best, but we have to try our best. We must do our sadharma, try our best, then leave the rest to God. Sometimes some people, they leave the rest to God earlier also. But that is laziness. No. God has given us certain parameters, certain energies, certain capacity. Let us try to do our best. Leave the rest to God. He knows best. Beautiful story was told by Sri Ramakrishna. Ultimately, it is the will of the Lord that prevails. Ultimately, it is the will of the Lord. So he used to give a beautiful story. Ramericha. Everything happens due to the wish of the Lord. There was a weaver. He used to weave out some cloth and then sell it in the market. But he was a very honest man. So somebody would say, what is the cost, what is the price of this cloth? He will say, the actual cost of production is 6 anna, but the selling price is 8 anna because I want to take a profit of 2 annas. He will tell his profit also. But what he will say? By the will of the Lord, the cost of production is 6 anna. By the will of the Lord, I want to charge profit of 2 annas, and by the will of the Lord, the selling price is 8 annas. Everywhere he will say it is all will of Lord. He was a man devoted fully to God. And so people will take from him because they thought it is an honest man. One day, after coming back from his business, he came to his house. In the courtyard, he was sitting taking the name of the Lord. He was so devoted to the Lord that day. He was so devoted, he didn't know that it is late at night. He went out taking the name of the Lord, take out the name of the Lord. He was outside in the courtyard. Suddenly, some thieves, they were going along that path. And on that day, they had got lot of goods from a house. But now it was difficult for them to carry. But at midnight, how to get the coolie? Then they thought, this fellow he seems like a devotee and seems like a dullard. He is taking the name of the Lord. Then they came here and they put the whole thing on his head. Hey, chal, come, get on, stand up and go with us. So he couldn't understand what is happening. So he started walking, and these thieves started walking along with them. Suddenly the policemen came from behind. As soon as they saw the policemen, all the thieves, they started running. And this person is taking the name of the Lord. Oh Lord, 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 he is going. And police caught red-handed. Oh, all the goods are with him. They caught red-handed. Immediately they put him to custody. They put him to the bars. And then he was produced before the magistrate. All the village people said, sir, this fellow is so devoted. Even the profit he is taking, he is telling. He cannot steal. Okay, don't worry. I'll get the whole story from him. Then he told the person, when he was produced before the magistrate, now, please tell each and everything correctly, what all happened in detail, you please tell me. Then he told it. Sir, by the will of the Lord, I am a weaverman. By the will of the Lord, I do my business like this. By the will of the Lord, that day, I came back from my shop. By the will of the Lord, that day, my mind was fully absorbed in God. So by the will of the Lord, late at night, I was taking the name of the Lord. By the will of the Lord, some 4 thieves came. And by the will of the Lord, they put all the luggage on my head. And they told me to walk. By the will of the Lord, I was walking. Suddenly, by the will of the Lord, the police came. And by the will of the Lord, they caught hold of me. And by the will of the Lord, they imprisoned me. They put me to prison. And by the will of the Lord, now they have produced me before you, sir. So the magistrate understood he is a full devotee. So he released him. And while going, the devotee said, by the will of the Lord, I am released. So by the will of the Lord, I was caught. By the will of the Lord, I have been released. Everything happens by the will of the Lord. Whenever we are in too much distress, let us remember this story, by the will of the Lord. Everything happens by the will of the Lord. For a devotee. But at the same time, we have not to give up our self-effort. We have not to give up our swadharma. We will try our best, then leave the rest to God. Everything happens by the will of the Lord, ultimately. So beautiful shloka. Ishvara sarvabhutanam riddeshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantra rudhani maya. In sitting there in the heart, he is as if we are removing the whole machine. Everything is getting the work done. Everything. As if mounted on a machine. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsesi shasatam. Go. Surrender yourself to him. Take refuge under him. Fully take refuge under him. With all your heart take refuge in him. Then what will happen? Tat prasadat. By his grace, param shantim. You will get supreme peace. Eternal peace you will get. Supreme peace you will get. And sthanam prapsasi shashvatam. And you will get supreme abode also. And now, last comes the best of all the shlokas, the supreme shloka. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarvapapebhyo mokshishyami ma sucha. Giving up all duties, take refuge in me alone. I will liberate you from all sins. Do not grieve. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't grieve. Just come to me. Give up. If you can't do anything, don't worry. Come to me. I'll liberate you from all sins. What a great promise Sri Krishna is telling. All incarnations. This is their main message. If you are full of burden of life's trouble problems, if you are become exhausted because of your worries, don't worry. I am with you. I am there to remove all types of sins from you. The same Lord came in the form of Jesus Christ, said, come all ye that are heavy laden, and I shall free you from all the burden. And same Lord came in the form of Rama, gave refuge to Vivekananda and others, and Hanuman and others. And the same Lord came in the form of Krishna, is telling Arjuna, come, I will remove all sins from you. Don't worry, I am with you. The same Lord came in the form of Ramakrishna, told, don't worry. Give up. If you can't do anything, okay. Give power of attorney to me. The lads, they know. Power of attorney means giving every power to that person. On that behalf, every person will work. Girish Chandra Ghosh said, Sri Ramakrishna, Girish Chandra Ghosh was a great dramatist and poet, but he was a great drunkard also. Before coming in the contact with Sri Ramakrishna, he said, there is not a single bad deed which I have made, which I have left undone. Everything I have done under the earth. And as far as drinking is concerned, he said, because he was a poet, he said, I have drunk so many bottles of wine that if you put one bottle above the other, it will go beyond Mount Kailash. So many bottles I have drunk. Such a person. But when he came to Sri Ramakrishna, he was fully transformed into a saint. But how? Gradually. Sri Ramakrishna never told him, you give up the wine and this and that. But by the loving touch of Sri Ramakrishna, gradually he became transformed. Then Sri Ramakrishna, Ramakrishna said, when Sri Ramakrishna told him, okay, Girish Chandra Ghosh asked, what I should do? Okay, you do one thing, both morning and evening, take the name of the Lord. Then Girish Chandra Ghosh thought, Sri Ramakrishna is a great saint. If I give him some promise, I must fulfill it. But he was thinking whether he will be able to fulfill the promise or not. Before giving promise, he should think. He said, I don't know whether I could promise. So he did not say anything. Sri Ramakrishna understood, okay, doesn't matter. You do one thing. While getting up from the bed, you remember me once, you remember the Lord once, and while going to bed, remember the Lord, and while eating, remember the Lord. Only while sleeping and while eating, you remember the Lord. That's all. I made it very easy for you. Then also Girish Ghosh is thinking, there is no time of my sleeping and no place of my sleeping. Sometimes he may be sleeping in a very bad house. Sometimes he doesn't know what time he will be sleeping. Eating also, sometimes he will be in the court case. There are court cases going on. So sometimes I may not be taking food. So I may forget to take the name of the Lord. And if I give promise, that is not good. So again he didn't give any promise. He was just sitting like this in anxiety, what to do, whether to say yes or not. Sri Ramakrishna understood. Okay, you will not be able to do even this much also. Okay, don't worry. Then you do one thing. You give me the power of attorney. I will take the name of the Lord on your behalf. Oh, that is wonderful. Take the power of attorney. He was so happy. Now, so I have not to take the name of the Lord? No. I will take the name of the Lord on your behalf. You go on doing whatever you are doing. Everything I will do. And whatever bad work you do, all fruits of action, all the sins, I will suffer for your sake. Don't worry. He was so happy. But afterwards he realized what a difficult thing. Because one day he was telling, I am going to try it like this. Sri Ramakrishna said, what? You have given the power of attorney to God. You should say, if God wills, I will do that. Then for everything, if God wills, I have to eat. If God wills, I have to do. Then he thought, that was only twice a week, twice a day. Now every moment I have to think whether it is by the will of the Lord I am doing or whether without the will of the Lord. So he said, indirectly it became more troublesome. Then, when he was taking the wine, he is thinking, let me enjoy wine. But as soon as thinking, but the sin will accrue to Sri Ramakrishna, because he has told, I will suffer all the sins on your behalf. My God, the only person who loves me so much, he will have to undergo suffering? No. I can't give him suffering who loves me so much. He left wine. He left everything. Became a great saint just by giving the power of attorney. So Sri Krishna says, don't worry. If you are not able to do anything, if you find yourself incapable of doing anything, if you are finding incapable of surmounting the problems, don't worry. Come to me. Give up everything. Come to me. I shall free you from all sins. That is a great message of the Lord Krishna. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarvapapebhyo mokshishyami ma shucha. What a wonderful message. If we remember this message, all our anxieties will be over. Mokshishyami ma shucha. Don't worry, I am with you. If God be with us, who can be against us? If God be with us, who can be against us? And if God be not with us, who can be with us? It's a great message. Lord is with us. Let us not worry. All our problems put at the feet of the Lord. All tension will go. Happiness in everyday life. Peace in everyday life. And if we take refuge under Sri Ramakrishna, under the Lord, what happens? Eternal happiness and eternal peace. And at the end of the Bhagavad-Gita, then Sri Krishna now asks, Arjuna, your delusion has gone or it has not gone? Kaschidetutam partha tvaye kagrena chetasa kaschid ajnana sammoha pranastaste dhananjaya. Have you listened to it, O Partha? This, whatever I have told, with undivided attention? Has your delusion due to ignorance been destroyed, O Dhananjaya? And now Arjuna says, at long last, Arjuna uvacha, Nashto moha smriti labdha tat prasadan mayachyuta stitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. My delusion is destroyed and I have gained my memory through your grace, O Achyuta. I stand free from doubts and I will certainly carry out your behest. Whatever you say, I will do. I will certainly fight. And then Sanjay uvacha, Ittiham Vasudevasya Parthasya Mahatmanah Samvada Mimam Ashrausham Adbhutam Roma Harshanam Vyasa Prasadashuttam Etad Guhya Mayam Param Yogam Yogeshwarat Krishnat Shakshat Kathayata Swayam Rajan Sansmritya Samvada Mimam Adbhutam Keshavarjuneha Punyam Rishyami Cha Muhurmuhu Tacha Sansmritya Rupem Adbhutam Hare Vismayo me Mahan Rajan Rishyami cha punah punah. Says Sanjaya, thus have I heard this wonderful dialogue between Vasudeva and the high-souled Partha that causes my hair to stand on end. Through the grace of Vyasa, I have heard this supreme and secret yoga direct from Sri Krishna, the Lord of Yoga, as he declared it himself. O King, that is, Sanjaya is telling Dhritarashtra, O King, recalling often this wonderful and sacred dialogue between Kesava and Arjuna, I rejoice again and again. And as I repeatedly recall that most wonderful form of Hari, great is my wonder, O King, and I rejoice again and again. Rishyami cha punah punah. I have become so joyful by remembering that great dialogue between Arjuna and Sri Krishna. I am full of happiness, rejoice again and again. And the last shloka, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdara, Tatra Shir Vijayo Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Where there is Sri Krishna, the Lord of Yoga, and where there is Partha, the wielder of the bow, there are sure these three things: fortune, victory, prosperity, and the fourth thing, statesmanship. These four things will be there with you, will be always with us if Sri Krishna is seated in our heart, and Arjuna, that is our Purushartha. We have to do our work hard, and Sri Krishna seated, that is the Lord's grace. If we combine these two, our self-effort and divine grace, what happens? Four things come in life: fortune, victory in everything, prosperity, and statesmanship. This is such is my conviction, says Sanjaya. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanudharaha, Tatra Shir Vijayo Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. So, surely God is there. Where God is there, Arjuna is there. Arjuna within us, that is the person who wants to work hard, and God within us, the Lord seated within our heart, both of us combined, surely we will have victory, we will have happiness, we will have peace in everyday life, and eternal happiness and eternal life. That is the great message of the Bhagavad-Gita, the great consolation of the Bhagavad-Gita, the great promise of the Lord is there. On Sri Krishna Janmashtami Day, we pray to the Lord Sri Krishna. He has given the message of Bhagavad-Gita, wonderful message He has given. Through Arjuna, He has given to the whole of humanity, by which the whole of humanity can get happiness and peace. Let us try, let us pray to the Lord. May He grant us that wisdom to partake a little of that nectar and make us blessed in our daily life and in our spiritual life. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.